There's an entire generation that grew up believing Bow Wow would be one of the greatest rappers in history.
In my arms, in my mind, all the time, I wanna keep you right on my side. But had nobody show me all the things that you done show me in a special way. I feel when you're done. Come on, you got it.
Before the guy even turned 15, he was already selling millions of records, starring in Hollywood movies, dating one of the biggest R&B stars, and seemed to have the world in his hands. But a few years later, the same kid who was treated as the prince of hip-hop ended up being remembered for lies, memes, and public humiliations on the internet.
Anybody's gonna have dinner with you. Ain't nobody gonna have dinner with you. Don't touch me.
Back up.
But the question we've had from the beginning is this: how did this happen in the career of one of the greatest prodigies in the history of urban music? We'll discuss that in this video. But first, hey everyone, Jeriso's in the house. Listen up, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Subscribe, leave a like, and turn on notifications. This Bow Wow video was highly requested, so we're bringing it here to the channel. And look, your boy is getting started. Some mentoring for you, so if you want to make some awesome videos like we do here on this channel, documentaries, or even learn to communicate better in front of the camera, I'll leave the link to my WhatsApp right here in the description. Just go there and click it. And man, I'm sure we're going to do a great job with you, but hurry up, dude, because spots are super limited since I don't have much time. So, speaking of that, let's get to the video because we have a lot to talk about. The child prodigy and the mentorship of a legend. For us to understand how this whole story started, we need to go back to the very beginning. That's because Chad Gregory Moss was born on March 9, 1987 in Columbus, Ohio, and he wasn't just an ordinary kid, no. While other little boys were focused on learning to ride a bike, playing marbles, or flying kites, you know, Chad was already obsessed with hip-hop. At just 3 years old, he could already mumble along to the flows of the most hyped rappers of the time. And at 5 years old, he was already performing kind of professionally, let's put it that way, under the stage name Kid Gangsta. And I don't even need to tell you guys that, man, in the early 90s, the most hyped rappers at the time, among all of them, right, it was NWA, who was one of the biggest influences for Bow Wow at the start of his career. I mean, at the start of his life, right? But the little guy's fate would change drastically in 1993 when he was just 6 years old. That's because Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg were in the town where little Chad lived with the legendary tour for Dr. Dre's album, The Chronic. Well, Bow Wow wasn't supposed to be there, right, at a gangster rap show like that back then, but he was. And in the middle of this show, the hosts, you know, the MCs who were there hyping up the crowd, they started asking some questions. And one of the questions was whether there was anyone in the crowd who wanted to get up on stage and show what they could do their best. In this playful moment, little Chad's mother lifted him up high, and it was impossible to ignore a kid wanting to show off his best flow on the stage of one of the most important tours in rap history. Well, I don't even need to say that Bow Wow was the one chosen to get up on stage, and the guy crushed it. He rapped with so much confidence that the crowd went wild and even started throwing money on stage. But it wasn't just the audience that was blown away by what they saw. Snoop Dogg himself recognized little Chad's talent, and after the show invited him and his mother to the dressing room and showed interest in developing the boy's artistic career. Right then and there, Snoop Dogg declared himself as little Chad's mentor. The first thing he did was change that name, drop the Kid Gangsta part, and rename little Chad as Lil Bow Wow. It was a strategic, smart change and even good for the market because, man, calling a little kid Little Gangsta is, well, really something. Snoop Dogg took the boy along for the rest of the tour. He had him do skits on the historic album Doggy Style. He even made sure he appeared in the iconic music video for the song Gin and Juice. And at just 7 years old, Lil Bow Wow was already hanging out with some of the most dangerous and respected crews in global rap. Here, guys, we're going to debunk a classic rumor about Bow Wow because back when I was a kid and a teenager, a lot of people used to say that Snoop Dogg was Bow Wow's real-life uncle. But, like, man, Snoop Dogg always called everyone his nephew, including Lil Bow Wow himself. And let's understand that Snoop Dogg was just Bow Wow's mentor. Man, even if I meet Snoop Dogg, he'll call me his nephew. Everyone, even Toto, is his nephew. So let's stop embarrassing ourselves out there. Snoop Dogg and Bow Wow aren't related, all right? Jermaine Dupri's Hit Factory and the incredible success. Dude, being on Death Row Records was every rapper's dream back then. Imagine for a kid like Lil Bow Wow. But that environment steeped in controversy and Suge Knight's aggressive attitude was way too dangerous for a little 7-year-old kid, right? So Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg decided to get Lil Bow Wow away from those guys before it was too late, and we already know what happened next, right? In this whole story, it's not worth going into detail here in this video, but that's when Snoop Dogg made the connection that would change Bow Wow's life and career forever, connecting the kid with the legendary producer Jermaine Dupri, who had just turned Criss Cross into a worldwide success. Dupri saw the boy's star power and immediately signed him to his label So Def. And in 1999, Lil Bow Wow was already making history with the song Stick Up featuring him, with Jermaine Dupri himself on a track that served as that movie's soundtrack, Wild West, also known here in Brazil as The Wacky Adventures of James West. Imagine hearing that name in the SBT announcer's voice when the movie was on SBT's Tela de Sucesos. It's that Western with Will Smith.
Remember game came in making switch up they chain. No one ain't saying no part.
And in the year 2000, at just 13 years old, he released his debut album called Beware of Dogs. And I don't need to tell you that the impact of this album was immediate and overwhelming. The first single, Bouncing With Me, was a huge hit on the radio. But it was with the next single, Bow Wow, That's My Name, featuring his godfather, Snoop Dogg, that the world stopped to watch that little kid. In the end, it sold over 2 million copies, earning Bow Wow at just 13 years old double platinum. Take that, man. Bow Wow's success was so crazy that he caused what people at the time called the Michael Jackson effect. In other words, wherever Bow Wow went, he caused mass hysteria, especially among little girls, kids, and preteens. For example, if Bow Wow went to the mall, a lot of little girls would follow him, whether he was shooting a music video at the park or just out on the street. It was always wild. And since radio and television were the dominant media at the time on TV, Bow Wow's dominance was absolute, especially on the BET channel, where his music videos played non-stop on that old show 106 Park. He was on that show so much back then that they had to put him on ice, you know? They had to put his video on ice because they needed to make room for other artists. Because the girls would send letters there asking for Bow Wow's videos, they'd send messages wanting to see stories about Bow Wow and so on. And it was around that time that Bow Wow got the nickname Mr. 106 in Park. And man, let me just give you some context here. BET, Black Entertainment Television, is a very important black television channel for the African American community. It's unfortunate I can't show much of their content since they remove YouTube videos. I'm not sure what I'll be able to include during editing. But it's important for you to know this, especially for the end of this video, because you'll understand a really cool context that's going to come up here. But what you need to know now is that the kid from Ohio had become the new Prince of hip hop, the Prince of Hollywood, and the major collabs in that transition. If Bow Wow was already dominating music in the early 2000s, by the time 2002 came around, the music industry had become too small for him. He made his triumphant debut in cinema as the protagonist of the movie Like Mike, known here in Brazil as Pequenos Grandes Astros, in which he played a young orphan boy who gained superpowers by wearing a pair of Michael Jordan sneakers. The movie was a box office success, grossing over $60 million and giving us several bangers. I want to highlight the song Basketball here.
Basketball, Bow Wow, let's go.
And I don't need to tell you that those who only knew Bow Wow from his music, especially the black music crowd, man, now all of Hollywood knew who that little boy was, who was already on his way to becoming a child star. Man, by the way, if you've ever watched this movie, like Mike, leave a comment here, bro, because I don't know if it's just in my head, but I've watched this movie a lot, like late at night, you know, on Globo's late night movie slot, things like that. Comment if you've watched this movie, I want to know.
Pequenos Grandes Astros, filme inédito, nesta quinta, na
Time was passing, Lil Bow Wow was growing up, and he definitely had to leave the little behind. Pause. Then in 2003, he officially decided to retire that prefix. He even said something interesting in an interview at the time for MTV News. Cue the quote, Kayo. I changed my name because I'm getting older and there's too many Lils out there. All these rappers, Lil. I'm really getting annoyed with that. I said, you know what? Leave the Lil aside. Forget it. I'm Bow Wow. Besides, I'm growing up. I'm not a kid anymore. And I made that decision 2 weeks ago and I really got annoyed. They're all Lil. Forget it. Now I'm Bow Wow. Everything is just Bow Wow. No Lil Bow Wow. End quote, Kayo. Continuing in Hollywood, he also starred in some really cool movies like Drumline alongside Nick Cannon and Johnson Family Vacation alongside Steve Harvey and Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister. Johnson Family Vacation. Today on the Peace Session, and at that time he released the album Unleashed, the first one without Jermaine Dupri's production. And on that album came singles like Let's Get Down, his collaboration with Birdman. And also My Baby for a little nostalgia.
Life he lead is unsafe. I would never place my hands to you.
But still, I also remember that around that time he was featured on the song Baby It's You, which was by the singer JoJo, the one from Too Little Too Late. Do you remember that? This song was quite popular in Brazil.
End of the day, the only thing matters is us, and it be a lot of groupies on the road.
But Bow Wow's real breakthrough came in 2005 with the release of the album One Wanted. It was during this time that Bow Wow crowned himself as the king of collaborations, especially romantic ones, scoring hits that the whole world sang along to. We had the track Let Me Hold You, his collaboration with Omarion, which reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. Just a quick disclaimer here as well. When I was a kid, a teenager, I used to confuse Bow Wow with Omarion a lot. In fact, sorry if I called Bow Wow Omarion at any point in this video, but it was really because of this song, man. And of course, the absolute classic Like You, which featured Ciara.
I ain't never had nobody show me all the things that you done show me in a special way.
The chemistry between Ciara and Bow Wow wasn't just acting, man. That's because they were actually dating at that time. Actually, they used Like You to kind of announce to the whole world that they were having a romantic thing. They became the most famous and untouchable couple in R&B and hip-hop at that time, appearing on magazine covers and stealing the spotlight at award shows. Of course, there were some criticisms of the couple too at that time. I mean, not really of the couple, right? The criticism was more directed at Ciara. A lot of it was because Ciara, since she is much taller than Bow Wow, she looked a bit older than him when in reality she's only a year or two older than him. So people really gave her a hard time back then, saying she was dating a younger guy and all that, making up a bunch of stories. But I won't go on about it here because I've already talked about Ciara and all the criticism she faced and survived throughout her career in this video that's showing up here for you. So it's ending here. Go watch it since it complements the other one. This album here also, for the old school fans, had the song Fresh as Mist, which was a huge hit and is still played today. Right after that, Bow Wow also released the album The Price of Fame in 2006, scoring another huge hit with a young 15-year-old who was emerging in R&B and hip-hop at that time, his name Chris Brown. Who doesn't remember Shorty Like Mine? MP3 classic.
Another shorty like mine, shorty like mine.
Actually, guys, Bow Wow and Chris Brown were practically an inseparable duo back then, man. But the fact is, Bow Wow had proven that he managed to survive the transition from child star to a young artist with huge commercial success, the end of the golden years and the beginning of getting sidelined. But as you may have already heard, in the entertainment world, it's much easier to get to the top than to stay there. And that started when the fairy tale between Bow Wow and Ciara came to an end. And let me tell you, it was so painful that the rapper and singer had to turn it into a song. Then, in 2007, he released the song Out of My System, which is a collaboration with T-Pain, where Bow Wow raps about, in his own words, losing the woman of his life because he wanted to live the single life again. So you probably already kind of understood what happened between the two of them, right? The track did really well on the charts, right? It was another platinum record for Bow Wow. But for me, man, it seems like it was one of Bow Wow's last gasps of success and public respect back then.
All the time I spend together, ways are hard to hit you out of my
He still managed to get a prominent role in movies, which was in the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift playing Twink, which kept him in the media for a while. But musically, things started to go downhill a lot. He decided to distance himself from Jermaine Dupri again and go for a kind of gangsta style, you know? In a style like, I'm super gangsta, but man, everyone saw Bow Wow grow up. They know that wasn't really what he was selling. At that time, he tried to bring this street attitude that everyone knew wasn't really his, you know? And as a result, the audience didn't buy it. Even though, yes, at that time he had a few career successes, I wouldn't even call them successes because they didn't come close to his peak in the early 2000s, but he did have a few. For example, Bow Wow and Omarion got together again and released a collaborative album at the end of 2007 called Face Off. The first single, Girlfriend, reached number 33 on the Hot 100C. That's pretty far from Bow Wow's successful days. The second single was Hey Baby, Jump Off, and man, that one did even worse. Then, in that same year of 2007, he also released a mixtape called Half Man, Half Dog Vol 1, and in February 2009, the sequel, Half Man, Half Dog Vol 2. But then, he decided to release another studio album after that second mixtape, still in 2009. Titled New Jack City 2, it was a resounding failure, selling only 31,000 copies in the first week, which for a lot of new artists wouldn't be a failure, but man, for someone who sold 300,000, that's real talk, man. I think we here in Brazil had no idea he was going through this flop era over there in the United States, because man, around that time, 2010 or so, Bow Wow released the movie Lottery Ticket together with Ice Cube. I'm sure you probably watched that movie too. And man, at that time, that DVD was sold like crazy. Those DVDs, the street vendors out there for sure went triple platinum because everyone bought the DVD of that movie. Everyone at my school, everyone at the barracks watched that movie. It was really famous on my street.
You say that I'm tired, says you. You came to try your luck? Yes. You waited in line, right? I did, but...
Going back to the States, already desperate to regain his prestige, Bow Wow signed with Cash Money Records at the beginning of the 2010s. The same label that was turning artists like Nicki Minaj and Drake into massive stars. Then Bow Wow started announcing nonstop in every interview he participated in, right? That he would also release a revolutionary album through this label titled Underrated. What really got people excited and hyped for this album was the number of superstar features it was going to have. So man, I even wrote down the names here of the people who would be featured, like for example, Birdman, Boys II Men, Chris Brown, DJ Khaled, Fabulous, Lil Wayne, Lloyd Banks, Meek Mill, Nas, Nelly, The Game, Sean Kingston, Snoop Dogg, DMX. Woo! Although, yes, tracks like Ain't Think About You with Chris Brown were released, people kind of already knew this song because it was already on the mixtape Femme Nova Femme by Chris Brown and Tyga. So, alright. There was also the song Sweet, which featured Lil Wayne, and that got people a bit hyped too. But Bow Wow himself said that this song wasn't like from the official album, it was just a promotional single. But the truth is that nobody knew back then, right? That even though Bow Wow built up all this hype, the album ended up being shelved by the label for 6 fucking years. The label simply thought this album wouldn't make any profit and just shelved it, never letting it see the light of day. A piece of news that caught everyone by surprise was that in 2016, frustrated and without releasing anything relevant for almost 10 years, Bow Wow announced his retirement from music before he even turned 30. People thought it was really strange, and this was when the internet, instead of applauding his legacy so far, started to laugh at Bow Wow. The meme was just beginning. That was the Bow Wow challenge fiasco. Far from the Hollywood music spotlight and everything else, Bow Wow had to prove to his fans, his haters, and everyone else that he was still on top and, just as important, filthy rich. But as you all probably know, the internet doesn't forgive people who like to show off luxury and supreme extravagance, especially if the person doesn't actually have any of that, right? Then the first big embarrassment happened when he posted a photo showing off piles and piles of money arranged to spell the word bank, B-A-N-K. It didn't take long for internet detectives to discover that Bow Wow had stolen that image from a stock photo on a betting website. In other words, he pretended that the money was his. But nothing, absolutely nothing compared to the fiasco that happened in May 2017. That's because Bow Wow posted a photo on his Instagram of a luxurious private jet parked on the runway. In the caption, he said he was taking that private flight to New York to promote his reality show, Growing Up Hip Hop. It looked like pure showing off, but fate decided to play a trick on him that he wasn't expecting. A few hours later, a passenger on a regular United Airlines commercial flight looked to the side and saw Bow Wow himself sitting in economy class. The passenger took a picture of him and posted it on Twitter with the caption, "Here's Bow Wow on my commercial flight," but on Instagram he posted that he was on a private jet. The internet exploded with jokes, and then people found out that the picture of the private jet he posted was actually a stock image, but this time from Google anyone could find it. Besides, it belonged to an air taxi company from Miami, which had nothing to do with where he was going. But what came next was the real problem. This whole expose gave rise to the hashtag Bow Wow challenge. Then thousands of people all over the world started mocking Bow Wow, posting fake flex photos. Like, for example, holding a luxury car key taken from a computer screen, or even pretending to be at a beach using a magazine photo. Bow Wow became a global meme. And I'm not talking about the United States, man, because I saw a lot of people here in Brazil doing this stuff, and Bow Wow's name started to mean embarrassing yourself online. Bankruptcy, child support, and random fights. If life on the internet seemed like stand-up, real life was a comedy about his private life, his public life. In 2012, the court ordered Bow Wow to start paying $3,000 a month in child support for his daughter. The next day, to try to get out of paying that amount or even reduce the payment, Bow Wow went public claiming he was completely broke. He swore up and down to the judge that he was only making $4,000 a month and had a mere $1,000 to $1,500 in his account. A public humiliation for someone who had already made millions of dollars over a career spanning almost 20 years. But to try to stay relevant and save his career, he became the host of the show Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta. But the show also served to expose a slightly negative side of the artist. In 2019, he was arrested in Atlanta after an ugly physical fight with his ex-girlfriend. His mugshot with his face all scratched up went viral around the world, and the security camera footage showed extremely aggressive behavior from the artist. And the fights didn't stop there. They weren't just with people who weren't well known. Even with the relentless 50 Cent, Bow Wow picked a fight. The reason, the most trivial one possible, man. Bow Wow and 50 Cent were at a nightclub where several strippers were performing. Then 50 Cent threw a bunch of money for the women, and Bow Wow started picking up that money and putting it in his own pocket. 50 Cent, as we already know, put his stinginess on blast online and made fun of Bow Wow by calling him a dollar bill thief, making the guy embarrass himself even more in public on the internet. And to top off the combo of random things, you probably remember this one, right? Bow Wow got it into his head that he wanted to get into the fighting world. Then he started firing off provocations on Twitter against the professional wrestler and WWE star Jade Cargill. He tried to hit on the fighter, and she replied saying he didn't even have enough money to support her, and the fight escalated so much that the fighter even stormed backstage at his show just to confront him. She almost got into a fight with Bow Wow. Later, it was all discovered to be a big smokescreen because Bow Wow actually wanted to use that as promotion so he could get into professional fights, which in the end, as you probably know, never happened. The legacy beyond the memes and the reclaiming of respect. In the end, guys, the big question that remains is like, how can someone who was so huge, man, in our childhood, in our teenage years, end up becoming a meme nowadays, man? I think nowadays he's not even a meme anymore, you know? Until recently, he was kind of forgotten or just someone who was stuck in the 2000s. That's the truth. The thing is, the transition from childhood to adolescence is already hard for a regular person like us. Imagine for an artist. We've always seen these things happen with actors, right? The Hollywood crowd who grew up with their heads all messed up. Anyway, but with the rap and hip hop crowd, it was hard for us to see this kind of thing, but Bow Wow was an example of that, and I can tell you that he actually survived pretty well compared to the Hollywood artists. But unfortunately, he tried to make up for losing his commercial peak by telling these lies, creating these characters, and trying to string everyone along. And this happened in the internet era, which ended up swallowing his legacy. But if you thought Bow Wow's career was just about embarrassing moments, memes, and so on, last month in June, it took an interesting turn. Remember I said at the beginning of the video that Bow Wow always had a very beautiful, long-lasting relationship that bore a lot of fruit with BET, right? With the TV channel Betty, and that he even got the nickname Mr. 106 in Park, which was a TV show. And actually, man, let's be serious, Bow Wow, in his childhood, he carried the channel on his back and influenced a lot of other teenagers who went on to musical stardom, including Chris Brown himself. All of this resulted in a very special invitation for Bow Wow to perform on Tiny Desk, the famous NPR show. It was recorded specifically to celebrate the historic contribution of BT to black music worldwide. And at the show, which was widely acclaimed and praised and still is to this day, there's even talk about it on stage. 10 days after this show aired, Bow Wow delivered a clean voice with vocal health that was just impeccable, an extremely in-tune band, an amazing chemistry with the people who are with him. He praises the people who have been with him for 20 years, and he delivered his greatest classics, all the ones I mentioned here in this video, with class and maturity worthy of a hip-hop veteran who never left his prime. Just now I went on Google to check out what the response has been like. I saw a bunch of Bow Wow shows here and not a lot of tickets sold, so I believe we're about to witness Bow Wow's new peak, huh? Stay tuned. And that brings us to the conclusion of this video, right? Bow Wow may have destroyed his own image several times with his ego and with social media. But the story written on paper, no one can erase that. Memes get old, headlines fade, but the impact an artist leaves on a generation, and especially on the culture, those remain. And even though Bow Wow spent years trying to convince the whole world that he wasn't Lil anymore, that he was grown up age-wise, and even in the eyes of the music industry, the truth is he never needed to prove that. He had already become huge long before the internet tried to bring him down. And so, even though the internet turned his name into a meme, it will never be able to erase the fact that Little Bow Wow was one of the biggest phenomena rap has ever seen. And I believe it will never happen again, honestly, but that's just what I think, and I want to know what you all at home think. If you made it to the end of this video, comment down below the private jet, because the people who stopped in the middle are going to be lost and won't understand anything when they read the comments and ask, "Sum it up for me." Hey man, where's the part where he talks about the wow issue? Anyway, leave a comment below. The link to the mentorship is also in the description. And that's it for me, guys. And that's all. Much love from Gerson Saldana. See you in our next video, and thanks.